Forget gurus. Forget anyone claiming to be an online business expert without going through the challenges of entrepreneurship themselves. The Real Money, Real Business podcast is here to prove the best insights in online business comes from your fellow online business builders. We dig into stories of entrepreneurs selling their business on the Empire Flippers marketplace so that you can learn how they made their business profitable, how they overcame obstacles, and what lessons they learned in their online journey. If you want to take your business and your knowledge to the next level, you've come to the right podcast. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, Branden here with another great business to discuss on this episode of the Real Money, Real Business podcast. Today's guest is Isaac, and he's selling his 3-site package of lead generation and display advertising business on the Empire Flippers marketplace. So welcome to the show, Isaac, and how are you doing today?
Doing well. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, it's really great to have you on the call, and I'm excited to talk to you about this business you've created. But before we get into the details of the business, let's give a quick general overview. So it is a 3-site package of lead generation and display advertising business in the technology niche. Created in September 2017, the average monthly revenue for the business is $19,733 and makes an average of $19,489 per month in net profit. For everyone listening, you can visit empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing 52529 to learn more about the business, or you can unlock this listing to start your due diligence if you're interested in purchasing this asset. So now that I've given a general overview of the business, what's included in the sale are 3 primary domain and all of their sites' content and files, 9 additional domains, 2 which are used as 301 redirects, a trademark, social media accounts for Facebook and YouTube. And so, Isaac, can you tell us a little bit about your background in building and running online businesses?
Sure. So I've been building niche websites for the last 15 years. I actually started with smaller Amazon affiliate type businesses, and then I decided to venture out to lead gen and display ads. And about 5 years ago, I feel like I need to switch from these online businesses becoming more of a full-time venture rather than just side income.
Okay. Yeah, that's really awesome. So where did you end up getting the idea to start this specific business? Was it just through your experience in building niche websites over the past few years?
So it was actually my partner who came to me, and at the time we had a smaller project we worked on together, and he came to me with the idea of this specific website idea, and it's very tied to real life businesses. And so he owned a specific business that required him to be out in the field every single day, and he kind of saw the need for it.
Yeah, that's really awesome. So I noticed you have, it's a 3-site package. You have several additional domains and some used as 301 redirects. What would you say where the majority of the revenue is coming from? Is it from one site in particular, or is it spread pretty evenly across the 3 sites themselves?
The first 2 sites, we have one flagship website, which is the image of the company. And then we have another website that was started early in 2017. Those 2 sites make up 90% of the revenue, with the third additional site we brought on around in September. It makes about 10% of the income.
Awesome. Now, why choose this specific niche in the technology industry? Was there something that stood out to you during building some of your past niche sites as a great opportunity, or something that you saw as potential, or maybe some experience you had previously that led into this specific niche?
I decided to go in this specific niche because, first and foremost, the void that I noticed in the industry. And it was obvious no one picked up the glove and created an entire website dedicated to this niche. As I mentioned before, it's tied to real life businesses. And looking at the competition at the time when we first launched this, a few larger sites dabbled in it, but no one really took their horns, so to speak. In addition to that, the lead payouts for this specific niche are quite high in relation to other different lead gen businesses we looked at the time. So that was very attractive as well.
Yeah, that's really awesome that you're able to find something that kind of had a gap in the industry, I guess, and take full advantage of that. So if the business is doing so great at this time, Isaac, why are you deciding you'd like to sell it now?
Well, for me specifically, I own another business in the display ad space, and it requires this level of capital investment. And I would like to divest some of the funds from this sale to grow that business. And for my partner, he has 3 kids. He's looking to buy a larger home for himself and his family. So, we love the business, but we came to a mutual decision that, we both can benefit from the money that'll come in from this.
Okay. Yeah, completely understandable as, life's problems and other life events happen, it's always good to get that large chunk of capital to move on and move into other projects as well. Now, was there anything that you learned while growing this business that you plan on applying to current or future projects down the road?
Yeah, so we learned a lot that great content that serves the user is highly important. If someone is coming to your site, you want that person to get what they're looking for. You want to point them in the right direction, and you want them to find exactly what they're looking for. You want to make sure they leave satisfied. We also learned that providers want to work with us directly now more than ever, because years ago, our sites were really small. We didn't rank for as many things, and these same companies were only working with the reseller that we sell our leads to now. And nowadays, we get weekly emails from those same companies, and they want to advertise with us. But we learned there's more to this than just generating leads. We're pretty much the central hub for the specific software niche we're in. In other words, there's no way a company in this niche that wants to advertise or get leads that doesn't come across our websites. So we figured out an amazing way to not only help these companies advertise on our websites, but also we give them the ability to get leads indirectly. And that's something we'll talk about more in detail on the call.
Yeah, it's really great to see that you've kind of filled that gap in the industry and you're able to be that voice and the name that people go to when it comes to this specific technology. So that's really awesome. Now, was there anything that you tried with this business and it just didn't give you the ROI that you were expecting?
Yeah, there's one thing that stood out. When we created the second site, which is really the flagship site, we put up too much content at once without building our authority as a website. And we learned that you want to curate less content, but make sure it's really good once you put it out. And now we're implementing the strategy where we put out less content, but make sure every single guide is really, really good. And it's producing much better results than just putting a lot of things up and seeing what sticks.
Yeah, it's good that you took that quality approach over quantity and making sure that you're putting out the content that your users and traffic ultimately are looking for, not just, maybe like high level stuff, and getting more detailed in that manner. Now, on the subject of traffic, where would you say that a majority of your traffic is coming from? Is most of it coming through organic search, or are you running any type of PPC advertising to get traffic into the listing?
We're not doing any PPC. All of our traffic is 100% from Google organic. We like to consider ourselves pretty savvy when it comes to SEO, and so organic has always been our focus and approach in our path to success.
Okay, that's really great to hear. Are you doing anything else in terms of marketing? I noticed you have a few social media accounts. Are you utilizing those in any way, or is a majority of the marketing you're doing on the business coming strictly through the content itself?
So a couple months ago, we spoke to a couple social media specialists, and we had a plan to put something in place with Facebook, but we have not taken advantage of any of that as of yet.
Okay, so that's maybe a low-hanging fruit that maybe a potential buyer could come in and maybe even utilize those channels further or optimize them further, should that be a specific skill set they might already have. So yeah, that's really great to hear. Now, hypothetically speaking, if you were to keep this business, what are some of the ways that you would personally try and grow it?
Well, the obvious one would be to create more content that can rank and generate more leads. We currently generate anywhere between 300 and 400 leads per month, which is a lot. We kind of have a foothold in the industry. So, we know what works, what kind of content works, and we just got to produce more of it. And that's what we're doing. So that's the first one. The second one would be to sell more advertising, because in recent months, we're really noticing a big shift with companies coming out of the situation we've been in. A lot of companies are gaining confidence now to go out and spend their marketing dollars. And so I'm planning to eventually build a list of all the companies in the space, and there are hundreds of them, and reach out to them directly to sell advertising. I mean, we get a lot of emails every week, but we figure we can take a more aggressive approach and contact every single company. That could mean a lot of money and income, I'm sure. We haven't tested it, but I'm sure those companies would be really interested because we are definitely the number one place for them to go. We came up with what I mentioned before, this win-win strategy where we place these companies on the specific page that relates to them, because we have different categories within our niche. And we feature them on our guides, and then we link to their website. So it's more than just branding for them and advertising. It's a way for them to get leads too indirectly. So as I said, we started doing this a few months ago, and it's been going really, really well. My third thing would be to, sell leads directly. Currently, we work with a wholesaler. We give them every lead we have, and we get an average of $57 to $60 a lead. If we change out our monetization method and we start selling directly to 2 to 3 companies, we can probably generate anywhere from $150 to $200 a lead. Now, of course, this will require hiring a developer, changing out the lead form, and figuring out a way to route the leads to the company and get a contract signed. But I believe if somebody goes through the hassle of doing all that, they could probably double the revenue of the business. The problem we're having with executing something like this is that we don't have a development team or enough people to go and outreach to various companies and get all those contracts signed, to deal with the tech. We're a small team of 2, and we do everything ourselves.
Yeah, that makes total sense. And that's great that you already have that roadmap established for a potential buyer when they could ultimately take these mentions and these projections that you have and ultimately scale the business to its full potential. So it's really great to see that you've already laid that out for them. Now, can you describe some of the typical work or the operations that you're performing on the business on a weekly basis at this time?
Yeah, sure. So the business is super passive for both of us now. We don't have any set weekly or monthly tasks. We basically just review our rankings. Once a month, we take a look at everything. We want to see if there's any new competition or if we lost any rankings here and there. And then we do some research around some new topics that we can write about. And then we get to writing because my partner, we do most of the writing ourselves now.
Okay, so you guys are actually writing all of the content yourselves, and are you outsourcing to any freelancers, or do you have any other help, like as far as their hands in the actual process of producing the content, or is everything coming strictly from you and your partner?
So we have 2 writers that we can always go to for work. The work that my partner and I do are lighter edits, changing out some things that we believe could be better. And sometimes we believe that because we have so much expertise in the industry, we can write it a little bit better. But we do have 2 high quality writers who've been with us for years and understand the niche. And they also help us out when we make a big effort to produce a lot of content in 1 month.
Okay. Yeah, that's really great to hear. And do you feel that there's maybe a particular skill set that a buyer should have prior to acquiring this business? Or do you believe that majority of the workload and maybe the operations can be learned or maybe outsourced during that transition period?
I would say you probably want to have an overall understanding of the niche by learning about it a little bit. Maybe take a look at the content, the way we structure everything. Other than that, everything else is pretty straightforward. The business is not entirely technical like some people would imagine. When I tell friends and colleagues in the industry the kind of business I own, they always say, oh, well, that must be difficult to write about. And I tell them, not really if you have some information. I mean, the providers we work with, they send us PDFs and stuff. So we have a lot of information readily available. It's just, getting a good writer to put everything together.
Yeah, that makes total sense. And it seems like you have quite streamlined process now for producing the content based on your affiliates, providing some of these content for you through PDFs and things of that nature. I'm curious, so what do you feel is maybe some of the potential risks associated with this business that a buyer should be aware of prior to acquiring it?
Well, the only one I can think about is that technically the lead payouts can change at any time, right? Well, we've had the same level of payouts. We used to get paid a little bit more before the pandemic, but for the last 3.5 years, it's been pretty much a constant, anywhere between $56 to all the way up to an average of $80 a lead. So actually, the current payouts are the lowest that we've seen, and we see them increasing as soon as the economy is fully reopens.
Yeah, that makes total sense. And, it's something to be aware of, but it's good to see that, you already kind of have a game plan and established also the foundation and the time with this business over the years. So it's always good to see that you've mitigated that risk to a certain extent. Now, Isaac, are you willing to commit to a non-compete, meaning for the next 2 years, you'll stay out of this specific niche?
Yes, of course.
Okay, perfect. And then how much support are you willing to offer potential buyers? Are you going with the typical 30 days of email and Skype support, or did you have something in addition that you would like to add on to that?
Well, since we want the buyers to fully learn the business and our process, we're willing to offer 60 days and include unlimited email support and even do 3 calls a month.
Yeah, it's really great that you're willing to go above and beyond the average in support and making sure that the new owner is, fully transitioned with the business and to see their success moving forward. So that's really great to hear. Now, are you open to negotiating something like an earnout where you'll receive a large portion of the sales price up front and then smaller payments closing out the deal, say, over the course of a couple months after that?
Well, we believe we're attractively priced, so we are looking for a cash offer, but we'd be willing to negotiate.
Yeah, and that's always something that can be negotiated during that time. And I'm sure buyers also going to value the effort that you've put in and the foundation you've created and also see that priced it accordingly. So just a few sideline questions for you. So what advice would you give to our listeners that you wish you knew when you first started this business?
Well, I believe that I wish I had known how strong of a business it is before. I think it's a strong business and a growing industry. I was reading a study the other day that said that the industry is set to double in the next 7 years. So an important thing to realize is what you actually have as far as what you're actually creating. A lot of people just go out and kind of create a website or a business, thinking about it like an SEO the way I always did. And it took me the last, probably, I've been doing this for 15 years. The last 2 or 3 years, I finally started thinking about it more like a real life business. And so that's when I made the switch. And I feel like it helped me a lot in realizing it. The specific niche we're in, as I said before, is tied to real businesses, everyday businesses. This product is very revolutionary in a way. I mean, it helps business owners save a lot of time. In certain cases, helps them increase their overall revenue. So, we believe the adoption has been quite slow with this specific product until this year. And now we're seeing some sort of boom in the industry. And so I guess the advice I would give someone is realizing what you really have.
Really solid advice. It's something that we do often look past when running, say, an online business, where we don't take that same mentality as if it was a brick and mortar business. And it seems like you've kind of figured that out now over the years and doing this for so long. And I'm sure our listeners can also see the value in that advice as well, too. Now, was there any software or maybe tools that really helped you at the start or maybe even managing this business?
Yeah, so originally we used Ahrefs a lot over the years for keyword research, but we found that venturing outside of that can be beneficial. For example, we came up with some topics that didn't have any search volume on the keyword research tools, but there were some article ideas that we believe make sense from a real business standpoint, and they did very well for us.
Wow, yeah, that's really great to hear that, you stepped out of the traditional means or tools that people are using to build these types of businesses, and you found a value in that for your specific niche. So that's really good to hear. Now, just final question, wrapping this up. So putting yourself in the shoes of a buyer, why do you think that your business is worth buying?
So as I mentioned before, there are a lot of monetization methods. It's a growing industry. As I mentioned before, the industry is going to double in the next 7 years. When it comes to advertising, we see the growth and the ability to take it way beyond that. Working with advertisers directly can increase their revenue significantly. For someone who has a large team and is looking to come in and change things up a little bit, the benefit can be tremendous.
That's really great that you've kind of laid that out and you have basically, like I said before, the roadmap for a potential buyer to come in and ultimately scale this business to its full potential. And I'm sure our listeners and buyers out there that are doing their due diligence on this business can also see the value in what you've established and the foundation you've created with this business. So it's really great to see. Was there anything else that you'd like to add, Isaac, that I might have missed during this call?
Yeah, I think two things that are important to note. While I think that growing the business is something that anyone should strive for because it's specifically a very aggressive investor and builder and all that. But this business could be passive for someone who just wants income, right? It doesn't have to be someone coming in with a large team doing everything. Sometimes the ROI on this investment is very high and it's consistent, right? It's been consistent for 3.5 years. Another final point I want to highlight is that before the pandemic, we were getting as much as $72, $75, sometimes as high as $80 per lead. Now we're at around $57, $58, sometimes as high as $60 average. So over the course of the month, we generate 350, 400 leads. I think that increase, if we're to go back to $70 or $75, that extra $15 we could get per lead from our wholesaler across 400 leads can mean another $4,500, $100 per month to the business. And this is very possible. And I believe this should happen towards the end of the year.
Yeah, that's really great to see. And it's also a great opportunity for a potential buyer to really come in and capitalize on that potential, with the increase in those individual leads and maybe attempting to branch out into direct affiliate referrals as well, too, is another great opportunity that backs up what you're saying here. And that pretty much wraps up this call, Isaac. I really appreciate you jumping on the call and telling us a little bit about your story and, how this business was created and came to be. And I'm sure, all of our potential buyers out there that are looking at this listing can also see the value in what you've created here.
Appreciate it, man.
Yep, same here. And all right, everyone. So thanks for listening. To learn more and to see if this listing has already been sold, head over to empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing number 52529. If you're watching this on YouTube, click the link in the description to go straight to the listing. And once you've unlocked this listing, you'll be given everything you need to know about this business. So until next time, enjoy your digital journey.